Of all the shows that populate the genre of children's television, there are a few legends that stand tall among the rest. You know the ones: Sesame Street, Dora, Blue's Clues, Mr. Rogers, son! But for me, the number one spot has to go to the best aardvark of them all, Arthur Reed.
My man.
Arthur and the gang have been kicking for almost 25 years, outlasting some other shows that were trying to keep up. R.I.P. Caillou. Nah, I'm playing. That kid was the worst.
No, it's today. Stay out. He always wants to be first. Silly old car. Silly.
Caillou! Disgracing Canadians since 1997. But back on topic. Currently, one of the biggest words in media is representation, the desire to see more diverse types of people and life experiences on the screen. And as a school counselor, I see this as a very important aspect of media that, when used properly, can provide encouragement and even empowerment to various people. And I'll be using our yellow-shirted friend as our case study. What can Arthur show us about the importance of representation? I'm the guidance guy, and your internet school counselor is here to show you. And while you're here, why not do the YouTube thing? Like, subscribe if you're new, and don't forget to ring that bell so you know when the next video comes around. Now, about that title. I don't care what you tell me, but in my mind, I've always conceptualized Arthur as a black character. Yes, I know he's an animal and thus can't have an ethnicity. Well, except for Brain, who is considered black, but that's besides the point. But when you're a young black boy in the 90s and you see a character on TV that looks like an anthro version of yourself, it has an impact on you. Let me explain. I actually remember the very first episode of Arthur that aired on TV. Being an elementary school kid, you're gonna find yourself getting some PBS as a palate cleanser between your Ninja Turtles and your Power Rangers. And as the PBS pre-show ritual began, with the program thanking its sponsors and of course, viewers like you, I was curious. I knew the PBS schedule front and back, but this new show? I've never heard of it. But I was a curious kid and stuck around to find out just what the big deal was about. But I wasn't ready for what I was about to see and hear.
Every day when you're walking down the street, everybody that you meet has an original point of...
It was at this moment I realized that Arthur was a different kind of show. Now, being the son of Jamaican immigrants, I know reggae when I hear it. And at first, I thought the voice I heard coming from my TV was none other than the king of reggae himself, Bob Marley. But later on, I learned it was actually one of his sons, Ziggy, who was providing the vocals. But before a word of dialogue was even spoken on this show, I was all in. Here was this show for kids whose theme song connected me to my family and my heritage. Up until that point, I'd never seen that before. And then I see Arthur himself. When I see this walking aardvark with a pebinus step and brown skin, I immediately saw myself in this animated character. It felt like I was about to watch a show about my own life. And remember, this was just the pilot. I didn't have any idea what the show was going to be about or what was going to happen next. And this was all just in the theme song. But there was more in store. Because as it turned out, the first episode was Arthur's Eyes, the story of how our perpetual third grader became bespectacled. Watching this as a kid was surreal, because it was only a few months prior to this show airing that I had to get glasses. And almost everything he mentions to DW as he's telling the story also happened to me. Having to read something off a blackboard and not being able to see it properly. Putting on those glasses for the first time and feeling like life was in HD and you could see everything, and even getting teased for wearing the glasses at school. It was as if Arthur was telling my life story to the world, and even his home life was something I could relate with. I saw my own parents in Mr. and Mrs. Reed, and DW was pretty much my younger sister in aardvark form. And as I continued watching the show and met Arthur's friends and the other zany characters that made up Elwood City, the show became alive in a way that as a little kid I never could have imagined. And for the first time in my life, I witnessed a show that I was able not just to imagine myself as the main character or the black version of a character, but I felt like I was that character. And that is the power of representation. It's strange. Even though I never would have been able to articulate the words as a kid, even at a young age, I knew that as a member of a minority, I was not going to see myself represented on TV or movies very often. I never threw a fit or cried about it. It was just a subconscious fact of life that I understood. But while I watched the first episode of Arthur, I realized something. This was something that I needed. I needed to see a character who was around my age, had a little sister like me, took piano lessons like me, had friends like me, and yes, vaguely looked like me. He lived my childhood experience, and watching episodes of Arthur as a kid was sometimes like watching my day being replayed to me by anthropomorphic animals. And in school, when working with students, diversity and representation can come in so many flavors, and I believe that these groups need to be shown to the world. Not in a forced way, not in the tacky, tokenized way that just bleeds cynical corporate pandering, but with respect, compassion, and dignity. This not only gives people in various underrepresented demographics the chance to see themselves being portrayed as characters instead of cliches, it gives those outside of those groups a broader perspective of the human experience. Just because a character from a movie doesn't look like you, doesn't mean you can't learn from them or come to an understanding about the struggles they may have. And as Hollywood stumbles its way to this goal with both genuine effort and baffling cringe, let's strive for the same. Make an effort to reach out to someone unlike you. Don't lash out at those who don't share your worldview, but treat them as you would treat yourself. You have to open up your eyes and ears, believe in yourself and others, and that's how we get together and make things better by working together. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what other characters and franchises you'd like me to discuss next. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you know when the next video is ready. Until next time.